No, this is...
Lights out.
Oh, look at that! That was... Oh my gosh!
I'm Chief Meteorologist Alan Seals. Here's your afternoon update on what's going on in the tropics. 3 hurricanes, 3 of them at one time, not unprecedented, but look at Irma, a Category 5. Look at Jose, now a Category 3, and Hurricane Katia, that is a Category 1.
At least 2 people were killed after Hurricane Katia crashed into the southern Mexican coast late Friday and early Saturday. Katia, which had been swirling in the Gulf of Mexico for days, made landfall in the states of Veracruz on the country's east coast. Katia patted the region with intense rains and maximum sustained winds of 120 kilometers per hour, but there were no reports of major damage. Veracruz and neighboring Puebla states evacuated more than 4,000 people ahead of the storm's arrival. Katia came at a time Mexico was already dealing with another major disaster. A magnitude 8.2 earthquake rocked the southwestern coast. Late Thursday, the death toll from the tremor has risen to 64 so far.
But first, the USGS says a powerful 8.1 magnitude earthquake hit just off Mexico's southern coast overnight. Already at least 15 people are reported dead, and there is widespread damage. The quake triggered tsunami waves and coastal evacuations.
So Hurricane Irma is not only very powerful, it's also a really big hurricane. It's big enough to affect a lot of people. It already has, of course, but it's not only people in the eye wall that have been feeling the effects. You've got a lot of people without power in Puerto Rico, and they weren't even close to the center of the storm. So I want to just kind of talk about the size of the storm a little bit and just kind of put things in perspective. And keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is really more for aesthetic purposes than anything. But right now, Hurricane Irma is about 600 miles wide or so. That's the diameter of it. We kind of took, outer bands to outer bands. It's debatable on how you want to measure it, but we're going to say around 600 miles wide. So let's take that 600-mile wide storm and just for the fun of it, let's put it in the Gulf of Mexico and see what the size of it actually looks like. Doesn't that give you a little bit more perspective? That's really a pretty darn big hurricane. Just to kind of compare things, Hurricane Andrew back in 1992, which is kind of known as being a little bit of a smaller hurricane, about 400 miles wide or so, give or take a little bit. That's also debatable. But it was a compact storm, had about a 40-mile wide path of pure destruction. Remember, that went across the peninsula. Irma is not likely to do that, but you can see how much bigger it is and how many more people it has the potential to affect.
Guys, this is real.
What?
Straight from a horror movie.
It is?
No, I'm just saying it looks like one.
Wait,
And it's moving so fast.
Look!
I know.
It's the official Hell vs. Heaven.
I'm overwhelmed by the destruction here. I didn't realize it would be this bad. First day since yesterday that I've actually come this way. So a little overwhelmed by this.
This isn't it that we're watching. I mean, you've got Hurricane Jose. Is that correct?
Right. Oh, yeah. You're looking at 3 hurricanes right now. So there's the satellite. All the way on the left, that's Katia. That's being dealt with in Mexico, so we don't have to worry about that. Then you've got Irma. That's the big one in the center. And then over on the right, that is Jose. Jose is a Category 4 storm. It's a much smaller storm, but it is forecast to go near some of the same places, Barbuda, the Virgin Islands, that basically don't have any safe shelters left. So they really need to watch out for that. And that's going to be over the next day or two.
Here is Maria, the monster, our second Category 5 storm of the year. The last was Irma in generally the same area as we went through the last 10 to 12 days. Now a very well-defined eye. It made landfall last night in the island of Dominica and caused ravaging issues there. I mean, it just destroyed parts of that island. You see that very well-defined eye still. It's about a 10-mile diameter.
The eye of Hurricane Maria just came ashore in Puerto Rico. The storm weakened slightly overnight to a strong Category 4, but officials there predict entire towns will have to be rebuilt. Maria's top winds, as you see, are now 155 miles an hour. Overnight, it pounded St. Croix, one of the U.S. Virgin Islands.
All of Puerto Rico is still without power and may have no electricity for months to come.
Despite the devastation, there are those moments of joy, like when these brothers were reunited for the first time since the hurricane hit.
The death toll in Puerto Rico climbed to 34 people in the wake of Hurricane Maria. 93% of the island is still without power. President Trump visited the battered U.S. territory yesterday to meet with storm victims and first responders.
If you look at a real catastrophe like Katrina, and you look at the tremendous hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that died, you can be very proud of all of your people, all of our people working together.
An update on what's going on in the tropics. 3 hurricanes, 3 of them at one time, not unprecedented.
So Hurricane Irma is not only very powerful, it's also a really big hurricane.
As of late afternoon, still a powerful Category 5.
Three sisters were killed in a mudslide that swept them away.
The death toll in Puerto Rico climbed to 34 people in the wake of Hurricane Maria.
there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.